Alright, next we got our videos coming up. This first one pertains to down pressure. It's going to talk some about Seedstar XP and active and passive downforce, but the principle is the same all the way back to the 7000s. So this is just is a good overview of how to set the down pressure.
This video is designed to help you better understand row unit downforce margin. Understanding margin is key to optimizing your planter for both active and non-active downforce systems. Downforce margin is the amount of additional downforce applied to a row unit above and beyond what is required for penetration and to achieve full planting depth. The John Deere Seedstar XP monitoring system measures downforce margin with load sensors located in the row unit gauge wheel depth control handle. Setting downforce margin properly will ensure that the openers achieve full planting depth and that the gauge wheels provide enough firming of the seed furrow to prevent the walls from collapsing. Proper downforce margin also prevents excessive row unit bounce, which may cause uneven seed spacing. To properly set the downforce margin for your conditions, follow these steps. Plant a small test strip. Note the high, low, and average margin value in the lower right-hand corner of the downforce run page. Stop the planter in the lowered position. Exit the cab and check to see what the seed furrow looks like at this setting. Do the walls of the seed furrow look firm but not compacted? Is the seed planted at a consistent depth? Are the gauge wheels firming the furrow correctly? In this example, the correct downforce margin is being shown for the field conditions. Notice how the seed is planted at a consistent depth. The walls of the seed furrow are firm and not crumbling, and the gauge wheels are firming the sides of the furrow correctly. If a field check confirms that downforce is correct for your field conditions, you have determined the proper target margin value for this field. The average and target margin should now be nearly equal. The function of the gauge wheels is to provide depth control and firm the soil against the openers to create a defined seed furrow. There are many signs when downforce margin is not properly set. Too little downforce margin will prevent the opener from planting at a consistent depth because the gauge wheel may intermittently come off the ground. Too little margin may also cause the seed furrow to collapse in front of the seed drop, resulting from too little pressure on the gauge wheels. In this example, too little downforce margin is being shown for the field conditions. Notice how the sides of the seed furrow are crumbling into the seed trench and the gauge wheel tracks are uneven. Low margin may also cause overall row unit ride quality to be poor. The gauge wheels should just barely be able to be turned when in the planting position. If the gauge wheels spin too easily, downforce margin should be increased. If the gauge wheels cannot be turned by hand, this is a sign the downforce margin may be too high for field conditions. If there is too much downforce margin, the side walls of the seed furrow may be compacted. The sides of the seed trench may appear slick or smeared. In this example, too much downforce margin has been set for the field conditions. Notice how the sides of the seed trench are compacted. The gauge wheels also may leave deep tracks or ridges in the soil from too much pressure. If your field check confirms that the downforce margin target is incorrect for your field conditions, you will need to either increase or decrease the row unit downforce setting to compensate and perform the field check again. Watch.
Okay, now they're talking margin there, but it's still from the 7,000s all the way up to the new planters. We're still talking, what's it take for down pressure on the road? You got the adjustable one, the mechanical, or the springs, or the air. It's still the same mechanics as getting that right down pressure. This video is mechanics of the actual true V's, the gauge wheels, and the closing wheels is what this one will go over.
When it comes to the planter row unit, there are 4 key areas to optimize planter performance: downforce, opener blades, seed tubes and guards, plus the closing system. Setting the correct row unit downforce is a balance of getting enough, but not too much. The row unit needs adequate downforce to achieve good soil penetration and limit excessive vertical movement. Too much downforce can cause unneeded wear on openers and could potentially create a situation that lifts the planter frame. In this situation, the downward travel of the row units will be reduced, which may result in shallow seeds or seeds laying on top of the ground as part of the planter goes over a low spot in the field. Check this by making sure that the planter frame height is running at an optimal 21 inches off the ground in field conditions. Checking planter frame height is important. When you have the frame level and verify the frame height across the planter, you ensure that all row units are working from the same starting point, which allows them maximum upward and downward travel, keeping seeds where you want them. The true V openers are a critical component to creating a V seed trench. When in good condition, the blade should always maintain a 1.5 to 2.5 inches of contact with each other. A quick, simple check is to use 2 business cards, one between the front and one between the back of the blade pinch points, and measure the distance between. If you don't meet the desired 1.5 to 2.5 inches of contact, then shims can be removed to bring the blades closer together, or replace the blades. If the beveled edge is worn away or the blade diameter is 14 inches or less, it's a sure sign to replace the blades. Seed tubes should be visually inspected to ensure there are no worn sides, which can disrupt the seed stream and affect seed positioning in the trench. Check that there are no broken retaining hooks and that all the tubes fit properly in the row unit. A good seed tube ensures that each seed is delivered uninterrupted into the seed trench. Smooth seed delivery into the furrow is critical to achieve optimal seed spacing results. John Deere recently introduced a new style flush face seed tube that minimizes seed bounce because the sensor works through the material rather than sitting inside the tube within the seed path. The tube's polymer material also helps reduce ricochet to maintain a direct drop into the trench for improved spacing accuracy. Beginning with the MaxEmerge Plus planters, an improved seed tube guard with seed channel was introduced. The seed channel aligns the end of the seed tube between the opener blades, protecting it from damage and wear. This style seed tube guard is used today on our XP row units and is available through service parts for earlier MaxEmerge 2 models. Now that a good V trench has been created at the proper depth and the seed is delivered into the furrow without interruption, the final step in the John Deere MaxEmerge planting process is to cover the seed. The closing system should be properly aligned to ensure good seed-to-soil contact. Before each planting season, do a scratch test to make sure the closing wheels are properly aligned. To do this, lower the planter on sod or other firm surface and pull ahead a few yards. Then, check behind the planter to see that the closing wheels are directly centered over the seed trench. If the alignment needs any adjustment, simply loosen the 2 retaining bolts and either move the closing assembly or turn eccentrics on earlier models. Once you've tweaked these row unit components themselves as a system, you also need to address any attachments you have installed.